Oh, hello, and welcome to the start of a reading vlog. And in this one, I'm going to be talking about some continuations of some fantasy series. I have a few on my TBR, on my physical TBR, that I'm hoping to get to soon. And I thought this would be a nice theme for a vlog because it's kind of hard to do, and so I figured I would just put all of the weirdness into one vlog and just leave it at that. What I mean by that is that it's hard to talk about continuations in series without spoiling the first book in that series. So what I've done in some cases, especially if I'm just marathoning my way through a series, is that I will have one dedicated vlog for that series and I will have spoiler and non-spoiler portions. I'm not going to be doing that for this one, and I'm not going to be spoiling anything about the first books in these series, and so it's kind of hard to talk about, but I still wanted to at least give some thoughts on these series. And so if you happen to have enjoyed the first one and were curious about my thoughts on the continuations in these series, then this is at least one way to do that. And so I will have timestamps below if you're interested in some series that I'm going to be talking about but not others. I will try to remember to put pictures of the series that I'll be talking about in the thumbnail as well, and then timestamp them below so that you can just kind of look at the series that you're interested in, and if you're interested in all of them, then great. And so I'm filming this relatively early on in January and really just trying to kickstart my life again after some relaxing holidays. It was a great holiday season, and so really just trying to get back into the swing of things. I was reading during that time, just not really filming, and so I have actually already read one book that I intended to have for this vlog. I meant to check in, but it just didn't work out. But I think I'm going to be back into the swing of hopefully at least getting some clips in for vlogs coming up. And so let me just jump into the first one here. I did actually just this morning finish These Twisted Bonds by Lexi Ryan. This is the second book in the duology that starts with these hollow vows. And in this one, you're following Abriella, or Bree, who is a human and not really in a great position at the start of the series. She's kind of in a really bad contract and is being exploited in different ways, and her sister is taken by the Fae, and so she is trying to go to the Seelie and Unseelie courts to figure out how she can protect her sister and get her sister back. And she originally goes to the Seelie court, ends up going to the Unseelie court, and is told that if she completes 3 tasks or gets 3 objects back to where they belong in the Unseelie court, then she can get her sister back. And so the first book follows her kind of meeting different people associated with these different courts, trying to navigate the politics that's happening in this world, trying to get these objects while trying to be very careful and learning about who she can and can't trust, and trying her best to navigate that so that she can get her sister back. Some things happen, again, I'm not going to spoil anything. Some things happen at the end that really make her, again, question, who can I trust, who can I not trust? And this one picks up right where we leave off after those events. And so there's not really a time jump here, you're just jumping straight in after the twist at the end of the first book. And Bree is reeling from that. She's first trying to just get herself away and get in a position where she can just kind of regroup, figure out what to do. And then you follow her trying to, now that she is a little bit more engrossed in the politics of this world and figuring out that she has a more central role to play in how things are going to be playing out, she is realizing that that some children are at risk, and she is now seeing this firsthand, and so she's again trying to figure out who she can trust, not really trusting anyone, and is through getting to know some of these people, she's able to kind of firsthand see that there are still problems that need to be resolved, and figuring out how she's going to be playing a role, and kind of forced by just circumstances that have happened basically she's going to be forced to play a role, and she needs to play a role in order to make sure that things can work out to protect these children that are at risk. And it's also a very angsty series. So if you're in the mood for some angsty fae action, then I feel like this would be a fun series to pick up, because the angst is definitely there. Like quite a bit of this. Like there's definitely some action and some things that happen. One of the antagonists of the first series is still trying to track her down, and so she's trying to figure out how she can stay safe, try to be able to predict when trying to hide from that antagonist, but also be able to move around and be able to deal with what she needs to. And so, she sees this danger firsthand. She's trying to figure out what needs to happen in order to kind of once and for all make sure that these kids can be protected. And she deals with trying to sort her feelings out. There was a bit of a love triangle in the first one, and so that's where the angst really comes in. She's trying to figure out her feelings, and she's experiencing some jealousy, and so she's trying to work through that. And then she is also trying to be resourceful and use what she can in order to stay true to herself, figure out what that means for her, and kind of place the protection of the realm before anything else. And so I just thought it was fun. It's angsty, it's fun, and I think I was just in the mood for something like that. And so my hold for the audiobook came in at the library, and I was in the mood for something like that. So I said, okay, perfect. This is going to be the next book I read. And just, as I said, didn't have a chance to check in on it, but that is the first book that I read for this vlog. And I will, I'm not going to talk about what other ones I have planned yet, because it always could change, but I feel like I know which ones I'm going to be talking about for the other ones in this vlog, but I'm not sure when I'm going to read them. And so if things change in the meantime, I don't want to lead my future self astray when I'm editing this video, trying to pull all these clips together from different periods of time. But I will check back in on this vlog when I read some of the other books that are continuations in some series. Oh hey, quick update. I read a couple of more books for this vlog, and for this one I feel like I'm a little less worried about giving a bunch of in-the-moment thoughts, as I said, because it's really hard to talk about sequels without spoiling the first one. But I did read Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn and absolutely enjoyed this one. This one was just a ton of fun, and I feel like some of it does feel like a little bit slower pacing than the first one, and that this one has a little bit of middle book syndrome as you're kind of setting some things up for the next book, but I'm still really enjoying following Bree. There's still a little bit of angst in here, which, is to a fun degree for me. It's not too much or too ridiculous. Sometimes I'm just in the mood for that too, but I think the angst in here is definitely there, but she's also really focused on trying to figure out what's going on after the revelations of what happened at the end of the first book. And, there are some people after her, and she's trying to figure out who she can trust. I think was kind of a big thing in here, was just finding out who she can trust and figuring out that there were some people that she thought she could trust that she couldn't. And, just going from there and really clinging to the people who she finds out that she can trust, and really relying on them to help her navigate what's going on. But it was just a ton of fun. It was just, it was a lot of fun, and just overall an enjoyable read. Definitely looking forward to picking up the third one. I did also read The Atlas Paradox, which is the sequel to The Atlas 6, and this one I think also felt a little bit slower and a little bit middle booky, but I still was intrigued by And this does follow kind of in the style of the first one, in the sense that this is not a plot heavy book. Really, if you're in the mood for conversations between pretentious characters trying to figure something out, then that's what this will give you. It's not a plot heavy book. So some parts of it are pretty slow as characters are trying to figure some things out. There's a character who I'll just say is kind of stuck in a particular situation and needs to spend quite a bit of time just existing in that situation and in that space to just orient themselves and figure out how they can actually get out and get back to where they need to be. And I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so there's quite a bit of time of that person just living in order to figure out or get any clues and any information about what they can do. Some other characters are trying to help them out, but there's a lot of other stuff, in the background that might distract them for various reasons. They are still supposed to be part of this society, so there are still some things going on with the society that they are involved in. But really, it's a lot of conversations between pretentious characters that are pretty unlikable, which is also how the first one was. I feel like if you enjoyed the first one, there is a pretty good chance you're going to enjoy this one quite a bit as well. And yeah, I'm still definitely very intrigued to read the next one. Anyway, there are a couple more that I would love to read for this vlog, and yeah, I'll check in. Hopefully I won't necessarily need to bundle both of them together like these, but I will check in after I've read another one for this vlog, because I think there are two more that I really would love to read before wrapping this one up. So yeah. So I've read another book for this vlog, and that is Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sue Lynn Tan. This is the book that follows Daughter of the Moon Goddess. And Daughter of the Moon Goddess follows our main character, who is, unsurprisingly, the daughter of the Moon Goddess. And her mother has been, in essence, trapped on the moon. The celestial court doesn't know that her daughter exists, and when our main character's magic kind of flares up, comes to the attention of the celestial court, and she basically goes on a mission to free her mother and clear her mother's name. And a whole bunch of stuff happens in the meantime. This is very much a plot, not character based, kind of very fairy tale-esque form of storytelling. And I feel like if you enjoyed the first one, I loved the first one, although I can definitely understand why it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Even those who do like fairy tale retellings and that kind of style of writing and storytelling. The writing is beautiful, but not flowery, I would say, and things definitely move very quickly. Like, it's definitely just moving from one quick thing to another, to another, to another. Characters make quick decisions, or, our main character is kind of indecisive, but, things happen quickly, and then we're kind of moving on to the next thing that needs to happen in order to kind of accomplish the main goal, or we've accomplished this portion of the goal. Now we realize that we need to kind of turn to this side mission in order to, rectify what has just happened as a result, or a chain of event of things that have happened. You know what I mean? Like, there aren't really slow moments with the characters. I mean, there are some, but, the characters aren't necessarily what drew me into this series. It's just fun. Like, it's just fun. And, things aren't necessarily going to all make sense. Sometimes you just gotta let the author, or this is one of the cases for me where you just need to let the author kind of take you for a ride and just enjoy the journey. Just, we were here, we made a quick realization that now we need to do this, or we're suddenly going to go on this rescue mission because we realize that this person's in a bad situation, or, just stuff moves quickly, but and things get resolved by random or sometimes, characters will realize that this random magical or fairy tale element is what's going to be needed to resolve this situation, or we can't do this simple route because XYZ magic thing. And like sometimes you just need to roll with the explanations and let Sue and Tan take you for a ride, as I said. But I had a great time, and I feel like if you enjoyed the first one, I do feel like you'll really enjoy the second one.